วัสดีค่ะ Thai horse rider Nina Lamsam Ligon makes history in becoming the first female rider from Asia to ever compete in the category of eventing at the London Olympics. And at only 20 years old, Nina becomes the youngest competitor to make the cut for this year's Olympics. I talked to Nina earlier this year during her short stay in Bangkok. Are you excited? You're going to compete in the Olympics.
I'm incredibly excited. I mean, this has been the dream I had since I was little. So, I mean, it started riding when I was around 2 years old and started at, here in Thailand at Hua Hin Beach. My mom used to throw me up on the little ponies and kind of take me for walks.
The beachside
along the
horses.
beach. Yeah, the beachside horses that they bring down from the mountains. And then started competing back in the US and riding, taking lessons when I was 5, and kind of that's where the dream of going to the Olympics came from. So now, it's finally happened. It kind of hasn't really hit me yet that I'm actually going, but.
Why do you like horses so much?
I've always loved animals, and I think just having that partnership and the relationship with a horse is what really drew me to riding. I've always enjoyed sports, and so it was kind of a combination of having that love of animals and having an animal that you care for, having it also as a sport. I think that's what drew me to the equestrian world.
To clarify for viewers who may not be very familiar with equestrian sports, what is eventing? You are going to compete in the Olympics as an eventer.
Yeah.
What is the sports of eventing?
Eventing is kind of like an equestrian triathlon, really. You use the same horse to compete in 3 different events that it all came from military and cavalry training. It's kind of the idea is to be able to train a horse to go into battle, to be a courier for messages and get things through really fast. So you have 3 phases. The first is dressage, which is almost like a horseback ballet. It's a test of harmony and obedience and and you ride a pattern in a ring in front of a panel of judges who give you a score, and then that becomes what we call your penalty score, and from there you can't lower your penalty score, you can only add, and in the end the lowest score wins. So your second phase is the cross country, where it tests your courage and the horse's bravery and trust in you that they can gallop for 10 minutes on this course, uphill, downhill, through woods.
Jumping into the water.
Jump into the water.
That's called cross country.
Yeah, that's all cross country, and that's about a 10-minute course and test endurance, really. And then they have to be able to come back the next day and do the show jumping, which is a test of real accuracy and precision, where you jump a course of fences in a ring. You have lots of tight turns, and all of the fences can be knocked down, and if you knock it down, you get penalties added to your score. So your ideal is to finish on whatever your dressage score was.
So there are 3 disciplines.
Yeah, all into one.
And you add up the scores of the 3 to get the winner.
Yes.
So you have to be good at 3 disciplines.
Yeah, and you have to have a horse that's good at 3. A lot of us eventers have horses that are strong in maybe 1 or 2 phases, but the real winning horses and the phenomenal horse and rider pairs are the ones that are strong in all 3 phases and can deliver consistent performances in all 3 phases.
What's the qualifying process like to go to the Olympics?
It's a little bit complicated. I'm still working it out, but now that I've already qualified. But for me, I'm qualifying as an individual because right now I'm the only rider from Thailand who is at the Olympic level, which we call the 3-star level. And so what I've had to do is I had 2 options. One was to compete. One was to qualify for what we call the Asian slot. There's an individual Olympic slot allotted to 7 different regions of the world.
Is that like a quota system?
Kind of, yeah, for each It's almost continents, except for Asia, we're lumped in with Australia and New Zealand, so Oceania. And the problem is Australia and New Zealand are both very strong riders, and this year Australia didn't qualify a team to send to the Olympics, so they all got put on the individual list as well. So that kind of, the Australians are so far ahead of me. I mean, they're very experienced, and I didn't really have a chance of catching up to them. So then I was competing against just about 300 riders from all around the world qualifying for an individual spot for only 20 spots available. So it basically it goes off a ranking list. They take your top 5 competitions, the top 5 Olympic qualifying competitions. There probably be about 100 in the world during the year, and you can only maybe compete your horse in 4 or 5 a year, for risk of injury. So they take your top 5 and add up the points from that and then put you on a ranking list, and you want to be in that top 20 ranking if you're going to get that.
So you've been competing
I've been
for the past couple of years
campaigning
in order to have the scores necessary to go to the Olympics.
The qualification period began March of 2011 and ended 1st of March of 2012. So basically that year, it was not only my qualification year, but the first year I'd actually ridden at the Olympic level. I'd just gotten up there, just in time to compete through the year. And we basically, watched the ranking list and then decided what competitions do I need to go to, and tried to be very strategic about it, in terms of, which horses went where and their chances of doing well. So we competed up and down the east coast of the US. We went to California in November. We flew over to Europe with 2 horses and competed in the Czech Republic, of all places, because there was the only real competition there at that time of year. So I basically, typically, most event riders, they have seasons where they compete in the spring and the fall, whereas in order to get my qualifying points, I've been taking my horses all year round and just kind of trying to space them out so that they're not being run more than they need to, but that we're getting as many competitions in as possible.
You're also the youngest eventer to compete in the Olympics this year,
This year, yes. There have been younger in the past, but for this year I will probably be the youngest one to go.
You're 20 this year?
20, yeah.
20. Do you feel the pressure? You're so
I do.
young.
I think, a bit of pressure because not only am I young, but I will probably be one of the least experienced there. I think in the sport of eventing, the difference with a lot of the other sports is that you get better with age. The more experience you have, the better you get. So a lot of the riders I'll be competing against will be in their mid to late 30s or early 40s, and probably quite a few of them will have been to the Olympics before already. So that's quite a bit of pressure, but it's also a bit nice to be the new face coming up, so there's, I hope, not a whole lot of expectation yet.